People are expecting us to create something absolutely amazing, and they want it now. And the pressure that comes from the business side of things is quite a lot to handle. And then there is the pressure from the fans.
Oh, no effing way. Oh, it's City Skylines 2. Woo, let's go.
People didn't actually understand that we're not using anything from City Skylines, that we are actually building everything new. We are trying to make a city building game that will last for a decade, that will basically be a game that we can keep working on, we can add to, and will be something greater than City Skylines can ever be. My role in the beginning was to basically set up the studio, get us funding. And I did anything from the dishes to community management, which is one of my favorite things to do. I used to be the one in like Cities in Motion forum, checking what people are saying and using that feedback to help us with the vision of the game. Now we actually have dedicated people to do the community management, so I don't have to do it anymore. I still go in there every once in a while, but the team had that dream that they want to try and create the project of their dreams. And it just happened to be city building. I think people felt at that point that the market really is not there. But I don't know why, but we felt that we would be kind of that target audience. Simulation games, like the genre exists, and it's been quiet for a while, but we felt that there is definitely a lot of people who are looking forward for these types of games. It was just some young enthusiast or something that we had to let's go and try it out and do it. We never anticipated the game to be so successful. And it was very difficult for us to keep working on the game as the technology wasn't really supporting the things we wanted to achieve.
Just like, this can be like the comical relief interview. There would be a lot of footage for that at least, like endless amounts. I'm actually the first employee at the company. So yeah, I have been here from almost the very beginning. Then when we started City Skylines 1, it was something around 9 to 13 people. And then after releasing the game, we kind of like expanded. The sequel talk started relatively early in the 8 years since the first game has been out.
We thought that we would stop after natural disasters. So we had after snowfall and natural disasters, and then the game would be complete. We could move on to something new. So we never imagined that it would have over 60 DLCs. So how many does it have now? I think there's over 60 DLCs for City Skylines, which is crazy. City Skylines, as we didn't think it would be that successful, we were ill-prepared to have the technology in a state that the development could go on for years and years. It's not a technical masterpiece in that sense, but it's a great game. The thing with City Skylines 2 is that how we have built it now with the absolutely latest technology allows us to keep working on this game for the next 10 years if we want to.
Not only like match the first game, but then more. We're like fighting against ourselves in a way, because like we are our own worst competition basically. You'll have that kind of like axe hanging above you at all time.
I think it was a very, very exciting opportunity. Think about the situation that we were in, that we had made a game that was massively successful, and we have the opportunity to do it again. Take all the learnings from 10 years of building a game, and then make something new with that knowledge, and fix all those things that kind of annoyed us. I mean, who gets to do that?
Happy birthday, City Skylines.
It was 2018 when we signed the sequel. I have at times felt that this project is cursed, because if things had gone as we originally planned, the game would have come out sometime late 2020, early 2021.
Early that year, I think it started to become apparent that it's not possible. There were like technical difficulties that were not something that we could have helped because it was like third-party problems basically with technology. And of course with simulation, because the game is so complex, there are so many moving parts. That alone it's a spider web in a way. Like you change something here or do some new thing and then suddenly like 5 things here just like burst into flames.
The whole project is actually 3 years late. It took us 3 years longer than we anticipated. The simulation was never the big problem. The biggest problems we had were with technology, but the simulation itself, well, that's something we know how to make that. Like that is the core of our skills. We make simulation games.
What's Marina like? She's a person that is a very good leader. Like she's really good at getting people together and getting them to go a specific way. Like I think when she's involved, like things go in the right direction. When you work in game development, you see a lot of games in very early stages, and games in early stages are not a pretty thing to behold. I really dread playing very early development versions of games because it's so hard to tell if the end product will be fun. Because most of them, they're not fun. They're there to prove certain concepts, establish certain technical things, and then a lot of the game design, the balancing and everything happens quite late. But when the game was in a state where I said, okay, now we passed alpha, I presented the game to a lot of partners. And that was super exciting when I found out like what's in the game, like all the things that have been built in, like the unemployment, how it affects like how people drive traffic through the city, right? And these kinds of things. And that's when I like got really excited about the game as well. Before it was always like, yes, Skylines 2 will be great. But like you also didn't see it yet, right? Because it's a pre-alpha version of the game. Game development is complicated in the sense that when you set out to do a task, you don't know where the task will lead you. Like, yes, there's a bug and you need to fix the bug. It's very easy. But when you want to go from A to B, you might have bug B that is created by fixing that bug. So things are not linear. They can be cascading out of control. At some point, because of some changes we did and fixing one issue, the whole build had to be refactored, which actually meant that for a few weeks there couldn't be any like real development, and we as Paradox didn't actually see any new builds during that time because it just hadn't been refactored yet. Then when the refactoring was done, it could finally be tested what was wrong, and that introduced new issues. So there is no clear like just fix the issue and then everything will be great. I worked on this project on and off for like, I've been in the company for 6 years, so almost 6 years. So it's not something that's like, oh, suddenly everything is coming together.
What state is the game in, and is City Skylines 2 releasing to PC too early?
I definitely suffered some issues with it, and I will be honest, it doesn't feel smooth.
When people are asking me like, why was the game released now? I feel like we ran out of time in a sense that with more time, we wouldn't have anyway reached reasonable results. Now that we have that actual open direct communication with the players. We have a huge amount of players that can actually point us those problem areas that we still have.
All the people in the community, we've all been in the Discord together. CO, Colossal Order, Paradox have been in there, and they've been listening. This is another positive.
All of the issues that they're having is something that we want to help them improve upon. We have to just speak about these things like insanely candidly. I'm hoping that the people took that as positive affirmation that like, wow, they're really trying because we really did try. But yeah, transparency was probably the most important thing to make people understand that, yeah, we see you and we're working hard.
The community around City Skylines is the best one can have. The people who have been playing City Skylines and have been following what we do at Colossal Order, they know that we're not stopping here. They know that we're here, we're listening, taking all the feedback, all the suggestions, and using that to keep working on the game. And we want to hear from them. They know that.
I've had nightmares about the release for months, like seriously for months. I woke up sweating, like heart pounding. I was so nervous and so excited and so terrified because I want everything to be perfect. So of course I take everything to heart when they are not. The feeling I had was the strongest, like I understand. I have a tremendous respect for the community. I have a tremendous respect for players in general. I think the opinions they have should not be like lightly discarded.
Our history has always been that we want to kind of like be close to the community. The success of our games relies a lot on the community and how they, play the game and figure things out there and how they add their own flavor to the game.
So for us, now that the game is out, now this is where the fun starts. As we've seen with City Skylines, we do our best work when we're actually doing it together with the community. For us to be able to have this model where we actually ship a game and we keep working on it, that really kind of suits our way of working. To do it together with the community, it's a completely different thing than kind of in a cave.
We hoped for something better, right? To some extent, I guess we also were blindsiding ourselves, lying a little bit to ourselves how bad the issues were on the performance side and how many people will be affected by it, right? If you play a game like that long in development, you start from something much worse and things get better, and that might have blindsided us a little bit to where it was. At some point, we worked with time constraints, that the game had already been delayed by 3 years. We overestimated how easy it would be to fix certain things, and that basically cascaded down the road. Like when we did a tech review at the end of 2022, we said, okay, we can fix those things and things will be great, but then it's prioritization, right? Like you have to fix certain things for other things. Like modding, for example, is a very good example where we had to prioritize more performance before modding can be addressed and be in the build, because there's always been the plan to have modding in at the start of the release. But unfortunately, other things like the performance had to take priority.
I think the performance issues, it was actually a little bit surprising for me because not because we wouldn't have tested the game, but it was more about how on different individual setups there seemed to be issues that we weren't fully aware of. And that was extremely unfortunate. That actually made me question that what did we overlook and how can we improve this in the future. I'm the kind of person that I like to analyze the situation and then try to learn from it and figure out how we can do better in the future, because that's how I feel that everything in here at Colossal should be done, constantly improving. There's work to be done there. We fully understand and recognize that. Let's not kid ourselves that we're in a great place with that, but the point here is that now that the game is out there, we have so much data, we have so much feedback that we can utilize. Let's use it and keep working on the game. There was never during this project that I was worried about the game. I was worried about the technology, I was worried about our relationship with our publisher, I was worried about the team, how will they be able to handle the pressure, but I was never ever worried that this game would not actually be fun to play. The gameplay is good, and that's what I've been telling everybody. The gameplay is good. Technology is something that we can keep working on. We can fix those issues, but if the game is not fun and the simulation sucks, where do you go from there? The release of City Skylines 2 was rough. The expectations that had built up felt like they were impossible to deal with. Having the absolutely wonderful, perfect marketing campaign, to follow that, to follow the hype, the expectation from the players. The feelings were mixed like the reviews. So it was really something that from the kind of excitement to get the game out there, to have the extremely harsh feedback, it's easy to kind of feel like we're drowning in some swamp because of the amount of the negativity that there is.
On release, we didn't have the best version of the game ready, in the sense that we still have, to this day, we still have performance stuff that we need to work on and you know, bugs and stuff like that. Like the import-export with the cargo stuff was like, people are saying like, the economy is fake, and it's like, oh, the economy is not fake. There's some bug that it's not working because it was working before. But yeah, of course you can't go and say that to the people directly like, no, you guys are totally wrong. It works, there's just a bug, but it works. Regardless of that, it was still exciting to see it go live. I mean, it's like a tiny little baby that is seeing the light of day for the first time, even if the baby is ugly as then, you know, you still want to see it like pop out and then, you know, hit the ground running or face first. I don't know. But, you know, it's our baby, and it's kind of stumbled on release and maybe scraped its knee a little bit. But with crutches, it'll learn to walk and eventually run without them. And maybe compete in the 100-meter hurdles or something like that.
We have been extremely motivated to get the fixes to the players as fast as possible. We had weekly patches fixing various issues, and we are now just continuing the work.
Because we want to see the best version of City Skylines 2. And currently it's not there yet, but we worked hard on the first game, and you know, after release we spent years bringing it to the best possible version that we could with the tech that we have for that game. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't also do the same for this, because we've already poured so much ourselves into this game. It would be lunacy to not see the actual version, the vision of the game that we had in mind.
Can't even imagine what it's going to look like in its final state. Like, we haven't even opened the floodgates to mods yet, and I am excited and scared. you know, in a couple months we will be happily playing the game, and you know, we have forgotten. You know, we'll look through it with rose-tinted glasses. Ah, you remember the release? Didn't go great, but you know, now it's fantastic.
So what we will be focusing on is further performance improvements. Definitely keeping an eye on that and making sure that people get to build big cities and have the game running smoothly with that. We are checking very carefully the bug reports we're getting from the community and acting upon those accordingly. And one of the biggest and most important thing that we will be working on or continue working on and will be working on early next year is the modding support. That is near and dear to our hearts, and we want to get the support out there for the modders. But before we get to it, we need to take a little bit of a breather. So happy holidays to everybody.